The first frame, then we'll check the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and now it goes from 0 to 3, and we'll play from left to right. You can always click again to remove, and this is how you can quickly build an animation from different parts of your sprite. Cross selections for frames, add frames. Now let's hit F to center our character on the screen, and I'm going to use the scroll wheel to zoom in. You can also click and drag with the little mouse button to pan. Now our character looks usually blurry. That's because we're working with pixel art, which requires real Artificial is going to try to do some texture to make textures look better, but applied to pixel art, that is definitely not the case. So let's simply disable this. So let's go to Project Settings, let's go under Rendering to Textures, and here on the default texture filter, let's change this from linear to nearest, which will immediately make our pixel art look crisp. Then select our animated sprite, and let's try playing the animation. I'm going to increase the FPS here to 10 to make it go a bit faster. I'm also going to rename the animation here to Idle. I'm going to enable autoplay to make sure it plays right when we start the game. And finally, I'm going to take the sprite here and move it up to stand on this line. And that's it for our graphics for now. We'll add more animations later. But as you can see, we're currently getting this warning here in the scene. And if I hop over to the work with. So let's add a new plus sign here. I'm going to search for collision shape 2D, hit create, and here in the inspector we can now define a new shape. I'm going to add a circle shape. I'm going to make this a bit smaller and drag it up. Somewhere around there looks fine. Now you will notice this is pretty far from our actual graphics, but that's totally fine. Colliders rarely make them very precise, and it's a good rule of thumb to make so let's now and simply drag our player index from the top here so let's add a new node, hit Ctrl A, search for camera 2D, hit create. Now if we press F, we can see that we have this huge camera viewport. This is definitely currently too long, so let's zoom in on the camera. I'm going to set the zoom here to 4x4 and simply click and drag our camera to be on top of the player. And now we can try playing our game. And there you go. We now have a player that is playing an idle animation and nothing else is happening. That's because we need to add a script that allows us to move around. So let's close our game. So we can play this game.
Welcome to
provided by Secure. Then later, we'll go in and modify it to play different animations and rebind input to the keys we'd like to use. As for the path here, we'll make sure that we put this inside the folder, and let's just name it like let's hit create. And we'll just create a script that will move around our character. I know that this might look really confusing at first, but don't worry, we'll have a look at what all this means later. For now, let's just try playing. And our player immediately falls off the screen. That's because our mouse is colliding to stand up. Right now, our player has a collider, but it doesn't have anything to collide with. So in our game, I'm going to go back to the 2D view at the top here. This is where we can change from script view to 2D. Let's add a new node. So let's hit the plus sign. Let's add a static body 2D. And this is another type of physics body. It's the one we use for things that Just created is the node we use to paint these tiles. So to start painting on our tile map, we need to add a tile set. Tile set will create a new tile set, and if So before we can start painting, make sure that the scene has paint tool enabled. And now let's simply select a tile and start painting it in. If you make a mistake, you can always As you can see, I begin by blocking out the most essential game parts, leaving in room for gameplay objects like moving platforms and enemies. And then only once I'm finished with that, I start decorating. And if the trick here is that you can select multiple tiles at once to paint in more than one, and you can always go into select mode in order to select And once I'm ready to start decorating, let me just show you the cool trick with the trees here. So let's say we want to add a tree here at the top. Well, then we can actually just paint the bottom, then choose how tall we want the tree to be, and then paint the top. So that's one of the advantages of working with tiles, is that we can also make individual elements really flexible. So once you're happy with the level, let's just go ahead and press play, and our player is going to fall right off. That's because we need to add a physics layer to our tile. So we go to our tile map, go under our tile set, physics layers, and add a layer. Then with this layer, we can go under our tile set, and we to choose what tiles belong to the physics layer. Because we don't want to collide with everything on our timeline. The trees and bushes, we just want to pass by. So let's go to paint here, and the property that we want to be painting is the physics layer 0 we just created. Now we can actually go and paint onto our tiles in specific settings. So I'm simply going to paint this on all the different solid tiles. And you can make
Mario,
the shortcuts here. Now, there are also some tiles that we don't want physics on, so we allow you to only paint on tiles, such as our bridge here. So if I zoom in on our bridge, you can see that if I just paint physics onto the bridge, it does position right on top of the player, and we can even turn on precision smoothing to really smooth out our camera photos. So we can enable precision smoothing on the camera so that the speed of 5 and now for the photo, as you can see, our camera smooths the photos of the player. But so far, everything is stuck to the grid. Let's start adding some dynamics, such as platforms, some that move and some that don't. So whenever we let's go under our assets, sprites, and drag in the platforms.png. Let's hit F and zoom in. And as you can see, this is also a sprite sheet, and it's not just displaying all of them. So let's go in and define exactly which one we want to show. We'll do this with the region enabled, and hit the region. I'm going to change the snap mode here to pixel snap. By default, all visible nodes have a z-index index. They are drawn according to their order in the tree. Setting the z-index to a higher value, like 5, will ensure that our player will always appear on top. So our platform is working, but it's currently just hovering there. We might want some platforms to move around to increase difficulty. So let's use animation to do that. I'm going to leave this platform here as kind of a static platform. I'm just going to place it there. Then I'm going to place another platform over here by simply dragging it in. This is the platform that I would like to move back and forth. In fact, let me just go into the tile map and make this gap even larger. There we go. So to add animation to this platform only, we simply select it, add a new node, and we want to use an animation player. Let's hit create. And now we can add a new animation, and let's name that Move. Animation players in Godot are extremely powerful because they allow us to animate pretty much anything. In this case, we just want to do something really simple. We want to go to our platform and make a keyframe under transform for the position. So I'll hit the key right here and hit play. Then we can go forward in our timeline here to 1 second, move our platform to the right, I'm also going to hit the shift and snap to the axis. And now we can see that if we play, the animation plays. We also want this to loop, so I'm going to select loop here. However, this is going to loop in a way that it snaps back to the original keyframe. Instead, let's press it again. And now we can see that it's going to start transforming back and forth. If this is currently too fast, we can simply increase the length of our animation. Animation, let's add some sprite frames. And let's load in from the sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin.png, zoom in on this, and this only has and now if we play, you see that the coin is here, but now into the area. So it's time to make our first script. So in our code scene, we select the default template, and for the path, let's make sure that this goes under the scripts folder. I'll create, and this is what it looks like when we create a default script in Godot. We can see that we've created the script on an Area 2D node, and that it's automatically made two function calls that we offer ready and process. Both of them only have the paths included, which means so this script, if you run it, will be absolutely nothing. Now, the ready function is called right when our node enters the scene tree, which is just a basic game. So we can put code here if we want to have it immediately. Let's try it out. where we see messages such as prints and errors. However, you might also notice that the message displays multiple times. That's because we currently have multiple coins around our game, and the script runs for each and every one. So since we have 5 coins, it displays I'm a coin 5 times. But we don't want anything to happen when we start the game, so I'm actually just going to remove these 2 functions. Instead, we only want to do something once our player enters the coin area, and for this we use a signal. Signals allow us to trigger code based on events that we If we select our Area 2D node and go to the node tab, we can see all the signals on this node. We want to use the body entry signal, which is triggered whenever a physics body enters the area. Since our player has a character body 2D node, this is going to trigger. So double click it and hit connect. As you can see, this creates a new function in our script called onBodyEntered with a green arrow that shows that this is triggered by a signal. So let's here try writing a print function that says something like +1 coin. Now when we play and enter the coin area, it's going to print +1 coin. However, this message will actually display